Hi friends, I'm Tammy K. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before, or just welcome if this is your first time. I don't know if you can hear the cicada bugs buzzing away in the background. I know they stopped. Well, that's weird, but 'tis the season. They may come back to make another coral presentation. So today though, we're painting hydrangea. They've been on my mind. I've done several samples and this is gonna be wet on wet. Once they're dry, some darker shadows just to make these more three-dimensional. We'll also be talking a little bit about the concept of dreaming and what that means in your life. So I'm excited to share this with you today. The cicadas are back. Love them. Let's embrace them and enjoy. Okay friends, so we have 100% cotton paper here. This is Saunders Waterford. Everything is linked in the description of this video here. This is Christy Rice's, one of her new brushes, the number 12 round, number 8, and the number 2 round. These are both Princeton Heritage. And then I've got my lovely Paul Rubens professional set. Oh man, I just got a new spray bottle. So much better. And I've got my lovely little reference book here today. If you haven't seen it before, the Flower Color Guide. And it's got wonderful florals that you can emulate. So let's go ahead and get started with painting. So with these florals, we have some green and pink. I'm gonna start with a pink base and, you know, use your reference photo how you like. You know, I like to use it just to kind of be a springboard to help me get the basic shapes on there, and then we kind of see what we do from there. So we're going to start with one of our hydrangeas up here, and I want to just put on really light paint. I want it to be where these little pieces are sticking out right here, and we're just kind of scrubbing that paint around. I would call it that. So quick movements. You know, I always say at the beginning, don't think too much about it. That first layer, leaving the white space. We're not doing details right now. And this is going to be a wet on wet experience. So get ready for that. I don't use, and I've got, you know, a variety of colors here, and that's okay if you have some purple in there, pink. It's a pretty large bloom. I'm just using lots of water just so that we don't get any hard edges. We have a nice soft edge happening. We might put a leaf in here or not. I actually think I'm going to just buttress, that is a fun word, buttress these blooms up against each other. And a little bit of pink. So I'm letting that dry for just a second, grabbing some water and spreading out for our next bloom. See, it's really dark right here, and that's going to show that this flower and this flower are separate. Did I do that on purpose? Not necessarily. Sometimes, you know, as Bob Ross used to say, those happy accidents happen. You embrace them and you just go with it. So dabbing on that water right here. And we just want to spread everything out. So as that is still wet, I do want to add a little bit. I think I'm going to wait on the green. I'm going to add in, because if we mix green and the pink, we're going to get some mud. But I want to just start adding in a little bit extra color, just a little bit. I don't want a ton right now. So wet on wet, adding some color back in to our painting, and we might actually leave this part a bit darker down here. I might take this up, I might make it lighter, because if we're thinking about our shadows, often the shadows are lower down. So we'll see. All right, so what if we were to experiment with that? I'm just gonna take off some of this paint right here, make it a little bit lighter. We'll see. So we've got that going on. I'm gonna add in some more color here. And it's okay if you have a different color, like I've got some purple mixing in. Just make it really pretty and fluffy, all the things. All right, a little bit of extra water to draw some of that out, okay? And then we'll do, of course, our third one here at the bottom. Maybe a little bit of this bluish purple adding in there. Do I wanna make purple ones? I don't know, not necessarily, but they don't have to all be the same, right? So I'm just kind of grabbing what's on my palette, stress-free, you guys. And as we are doing this, you know, I love to talk about mental health, but I want to encourage you to think about something today. Dreaming. This concept of dreaming. Have you dreamed about your life as we're taking fresh water, which is already tinted, and just drawing it out on the edges because we want soft edges. So scrubbing, making it really fun. Have you dreamed any time recently about the things you'd like to accomplish? Maybe picking up a new hobby, maybe starting, I don't know, a new job or a new career. Let's add some purple leaves back into it. You know, maybe thinking about changing. Dreaming is something that gives you some hope for the future, especially if you're stuck in something that's not so great. It helps you to be encouraged that things could change and be different. All right, so we've got our rough floral shapes on there. I want to start adding in some leaves, and we've got boom, boom, boom. So kind of that nice little C curve shape going on. It is starting to rain over here. It never rains here in the desert, so you might hear some rain sounds, guys. We're just gonna go with that today. Okay, so the perfectionist in me, because I do struggle, guys, was, oh no, they're gonna hear the rain in my video and it's gonna ruin everything. But I have to remember this is just part of the experience, and rain is calming and it's soothing. And I can use it in my illustrations. I can go there, I can figure out how this is all gonna fit. Let's add in some stems. So loose hold on your brush. You guys hear the rain? Let it be wonky, let them move like that. Let's add a second one. All right, I don't want them to be just stick straight. That's boring, so boring. And so dreaming is something that can get you through your day. If you're at a job that you do not like, or you're in a relationship that's really hard, maybe thinking about what are some choices you need to make, if this is gonna continue on, or if maybe you need to make some changes. So I'm adding in some brown, and we're gonna do some leaves. I'm gonna start with one. Actually, you know what? Let's add in some teal. And we can do both. We can do variations of green too. It's definitely okay. Lots of water. And then just kind of scrubbing with your brush, moving it around like this, adding, getting thinner or skinnier as you get towards the tip, and then filling that all in. All right, you can even leave some white space, kind of like a highlight. I'm going to dip in, squeegee off some of that color, and then add in a little bit more of a leaf here. I can't believe it's raining right now. I had no idea this was in the forecast today. I really didn't see it. Maybe I wasn't checking. Rain is so good. And rain washes all the bad away, all the dry, all the dirt. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. But it's renewing the space. And so, you know, maybe you need a renewing of your space or your mindset. So think about how dreaming might fit into your life. And if you haven't dreamed since you were a little kid, it's something to consider. All right, adding in some more leaves. See how watery I have there? I can take my damp brush. I just dabbed out my paper towel, and I'll lift some of that color. All right, so right now we're just kind of seeing the spaces where it looks like we might need to add something else. These leaves are the filler pieces, giving us a really nice composition. So see how I'm just kind of pushing my brush, dabbing it, dancing, scrubbing a little bit of a stem, maybe just some marks like that. You can take some brush strokes and just make some cute little marks, a little bit of a stem right there too. I like things to be kind of broken up a little bit. And I feel like that looks a bit more, I don't know, maybe not natural, but more interesting. All right, let's do a little bit of a leaf here. And I've changed up my color just a little bit, just a tad. Bouncing around here. And I think I need some right here as well. So if you feel like there is a lot of white space, you can just use some nice light brush strokes to add in some of the greenery, maybe take away some of the other of the white space there with some greenery, or you can even add in some more blooms as well if you wanted to. You know, that's really up to you. These guys are so close together. I usually need to make my blooms a bit farther apart, a bit closer together. I like that look, but I often end up leaving so much white space, and it's just the way, I don't know, it happens, even though I'm aware of it. All right, so I'm liking the composition so far, and we're leaning a little bit this way, which always encourages me to add more foliage this way. I feel like taking a damp, clean brush and just wiping a little bit of this away. And I might add another little leaf guy over there. A little more paint on my brush. And if I were to do just like a little thin one, I think. Maybe there's just a lot of leaves sticking out around here. You know, this little bushy hydrangea situation. So we've got our lovely leaves down. We have our stems. A little bit here. You can always have some tiny ones too. They don't have to be all the same size. So I think I'm gonna leave that for now. We're gonna start with our second layer of color. And right now we have purple dominating in my palette, and I'm more looking at the pinks. That's kind of what my idea was. But we've got some purple. I think it would be fun just to have the variation. So we're gonna mix up the pink for now, adding in the water. So we're gonna go a little bit darker here, and I'm gonna add just a tiny touch of green. I don't want this bright pink color, at least not right now. So now that's kind of dark. And it's going to dry one shade lighter, so always remember that. And we're gonna start adding in kind of those shadow bits. Just stippling here, guys. This is so simple, so easy. Just moving your brush around. You can even blend some of that out too, because we've just got that one base layer, and we need to add some more pizzazz to this guy, this gal. And there you go, just a little bit extra, but I always want to leave the space underneath, so you can still see that. Whoa, was that my stomach? That was huge. Did you hear that? Oof, I need to eat some breakfast. All right, so stippling over here. Same type of thing. This is a little bit more purpley. I think I'm gonna do more of a blue over here. Why not? You can make your hydrangea in different colors. They do not have to match. You can pretend this is like maybe it's a bouquet, you know, it's not growing in nature. So people have cut these fresh blooms, and we are just holding them in a little bouquet, hand bouquet. All right, adding that color down there. See how fun this is? This is so easy and simple and carefree. And then I told you wet on wet, so we're going to continue with that. A little extra here, and we'll see, you know, how the shadows end up looking. You don't want to put it everywhere. I'm going to do that same thing for the pink right here, but extra dabbing my brush. I don't want too much liquid on my brush. I want to separate these guys too. Wet on wet is really fun, and I don't use it as much as I wish I did. I'm going to take some of that liquid off and then add a little paint over there if I can. Ah, the thunder. Thunder, thunder, thunder. And then we're gonna do a little bit of some blue, actually. It's like a purpley blue, periwinkle happening. It's okay, you can change up the color now. I do want it to be lighter. Dabbing. So I do a lot of dabbing. I use my paper towel a ton. And I just don't want to have so much liquid on my brush. I forgot I'm doing that first, or that second layer. And so that's what helps me to control the water and not have a soupy mess. And sometimes I forget. Let's use some fresh water. And sometimes I forget, and then I end up having puddles. And then you just have to dab it with a paper towel or your brush, and you can fix it. And it's no big deal, but something just to be aware of. Okay. So if you guys are liking this video, please hit the like button so other people know that we're having a good time. Subscribe to my channel if you don't already, so you don't miss out on my videos. And also, if you haven't heard before, it's linked in the description, but I teach watercolor on Patreon, and that's where you can get exclusive bonus content like exclusive tutorials and live stream with me, even art prints. There's a chat community, so check that out. You can try for 7 days for free. And we have such a fun time over there. It's a great way also to support the channel and all the things. All right. So we've got this happening over here. We're just kind of letting this hang out to dry, and then we'll see what we need to do with these blooms. We're gonna go in with a third layer of color, probably when it's dry, and with a smaller brush so that we can get a little bit more detail. But it's still gonna be a very, very loose composition. That is the whole point of this, and usually how I love to paint. So now I'm going to go in with a bit of a darker, more saturated green to fancy up our lovely leaves. I'm going to use a number 8 round brush, and we are going to dab it, and then we're going to do some lines. I don't always do lines. That one needs more concentration, I can tell right now. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh, are we gonna get some more? I hope we're gonna get some more. Yes. Can you guys hear that thunder? How do you feel about thunderstorms? Let me know below. I know some people are kind of freaked out by them. We get them so rarely that I kind of savor them. The sky is getting dark, and if it weren't for these beautiful lights, you would not be able to see my painting very well. I have wonderful lights that get me through my tutorials in the day or in the night. All right. So these lines are not so thin. You could go in with a thinner brush if you want it. I like to do it this way. Have you guys thought about dreaming? Have you thought about what you'd like for that to be? For me, dreaming has been this art channel, and being able to do this as a side business. I am a therapist, and so that is what I do first and foremost. This is wet, and we're just gonna blob on paint and just vary it up. But being able to teach watercolor on here has been a dream come true. And I'm still growing the business. There's still lots of growth to happen, but I appreciate you guys all being here. I have so much fun doing this with you guys. All right, and if you have any questions, always let me know in comments, because I do try to get to all the comments and make sure that we're having conversations about art. It's so important. All right, I love how I love how art is so good for our brains and gives us sometimes a sense of purpose in our day if we're just having a hard day or hard week or year, whatever it is. And it gives us something beautiful that we can create some beauty in our lives when sometimes life doesn't feel very beautiful. And that's just the reality. Okay, what was I gonna do? I was going to try to mop up some of this color. It's a damp, clean brush. Okay, dab it on your paper towel, lift some more color. I am waiting for all this to dry, and then we're gonna add some more things. But I feel like at this point, guys, if you haven't practiced lifting, this might be a good time to do it. There's a lot of color happening here, more than I want. So I'm going to actually practice lifting a little bit of that for a bit of a highlight or just less intensity. And because I want to have, some variation in the colors. So if you have a good watercolor paper, you can kind of scrub it, and you're not going to ruin the composition. Everything has its limit though. You can't scrub forever, because even your 100% cotton paper is gonna break down. I've got a really light mix of this purpley blue, and I'm going to just do some splatter as we're waiting for things to dry. And then I think we're gonna have to come back. I will hair dry this, and then I will be back for the details. In case you're wondering what I use, it's actually a hot air gun. It's listed in the description link under, my affiliated link for Amazon is there, and you can check out all those random supplies if you're interested in picking some up. Okay, so now everything is pretty dry. And the last piece of it is I want to go in with some details, a little bit of detail. This brush may not be it. This brush might be a little bit too small. I'm gonna try my number 6 round. This is a Princeton Heritage also. And I'm using this cobalt blue. It's so pretty, it's so vibrant. And I'm not trying to, disturb anything necessarily. We could leave it like this, super loose and all the things, but I did want to add a little bit more shadow. Okay. So yeah, this is the perfect size. I could use the number 8 as well. It's just a little bit slimmer, a little bit smaller. And I'm gonna connect, a little bit of dabbing, connect some of those. So I'm not trying to put shadow on everything, but especially on the bottom side, really nice saturated blue is gonna do the trick for us. So some sections are bigger and some are smaller. And just trying to keep it asymmetrical, okay? So that we're not having like, boom, 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 boom. Everything is matchy and equal. I personally don't want that. Now, it's hard for me. It was really hard for me to paint loose. And then once I kind of figured out how I can do it, then it was more like, okay, how do I keep things asymmetrical? Because my brain wants to make everything matchy, perfect. Let's leave it like that for now, and we'll come back. I think I might skip these green details. I don't know. Just a little fair warning to you, because I'm liking how, things are looking right now. This is really dark and really dark. So I don't know if I want that. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of green like we did before to desaturate. I think that's what I'll do. A little bit of green. I'll just grab from here. Let's try that. If you don't like what you got, experiment. This is kind of a brownish color now. I want it to be darker, but not too dark, so we're just trying to figure that out because it's such a pretty pink color at this moment. So I'm gonna take some of that pink and I'm gonna dab my brush and then just add in some of those shadow bits. So just look at this, we're just jumping around our paper, blobbing on those shadow bits, okay? And it's a lot more concentrated than we had on that second layer. Of course, of course, much more than the first layer. Of course. I'm just gonna blend this out a little bit. Okay. Still wanting to keep it light, still wanting to keep it whimsical, all the things. Just a little bit here. So, some people are really good about going in and just like kind of etching out these petal shapes. It's amazing. Etching them out, and so it looks like there's layers of petals. One underneath is, darker than the one on top. Just really making some pretty marks. And for me, it's more just randomly putting things down. That's how I keep it loose. And we've got this purple that's it's toning down because it's mixing with the brownish pink, and same type of thing. This is a lovely color. I'm definitely going to appreciate the color that it is. So I don't need to mix it too much with anything else. A little bit more. A little bit more, just a little tiny ones over here. Holding that brush really loosely. Don't have to do too much if you don't want. And I could even leave it like that right now and that would be fine. Just a little bit of some thin marks over here. Maybe bringing that up, connecting some of the spaces, and other ones just leaving it a little bit of a small space or area that's darker. I am gonna try taking my number 2 round. I did a couple over here, and I thought I would just outline a little bit of it in green, because in our reference there is some green, a lot of green, and the petals are actually kind of this greenish with pink on the tips and the outside, and I just like those colors together. So I thought, you know what, why don't I just add in a little bit of those marks? And this brush is so thin too that it's not really gonna do terribly much, and it's not gonna disturb a lot, but it just might make some, little marks here just to add in some texture, and maybe even outlining, some of these flowers. So just a little bit there. I kind of like it. I don't know exactly what it is, what it's doing, but I like it. So we'll just do a few more. So this is a detail you can definitely skip if you're, you know, not wanting to do that. But just another element that you can utilize to add some more interest to your painting. And just, you know, hold it. Look at how loosely I'm holding this. That's kind of where my hand goes. And so I just go with it. And that helps me to paint loose all the things that I'm trying to do by holding the brush loosely. And you could even maybe outline some of these clumps like that. Okay. So what are you gonna dream up? Is it like maybe a new hobby that you want to learn, or maybe you want to stop doing something? Maybe you're just dreaming about traveling somewhere and you can't wait, you know, to make that happen. You just haven't had the time or the money. Dreaming, you know, could include planning something, maybe making a note on your phone, going to Pinterest and saving some places, saving some photos of things you want to do in your home, maybe to remodel some things. Or it could be as little as deciding in the morning I'm gonna wake up and paint. That's gonna be my goal. I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna paint. We're gonna do a little bit of fancy over here around this, because that's what I feel like doing today. Even if you have just 5 minutes, maybe just 3 times a week, getting up and painting and enjoying that experience and doing that for you. I'm painting this morning while people are still asleep, so I can do this. I can do the speaking, and you know, as far as I know, no one's up because I haven't heard anything. And it's nice because I have that time for myself. And that is a practice for me. Maybe you're dreaming about going back to school, I don't know. You know, just try it and see how it takes you to a different space and helps you get through your day if there's some things that are hard to tolerate. It just gives you a little extra boost and helps you to have some good thoughts on your mind when things are not as good. And we all need that little reprieve. All right, guys, that's pretty much it with our painting. I think it's complete. And I had so much fun with you painting this. All right, friends, I hope you really enjoyed doing this tutorial with me. I really loved painting the hydrangea today. And I encourage you to think about one way in which you can start to dream a little bit bigger in your life, just so that there's a little bit of hope and excitement for the future. See you guys later on the next video.